Welcome to Here's the Story, a show that brings student affairs to life by sharing the authentic voices and lived experience of those who are shaping the field every day. As part of the Student Affairs Now family, we're dedicated to serving and furthering the people who walk the walk, talk the talk, and carry the rock that all of us who find ourselves serving students in their education and student affairs in higher education. You can find us at studentaffairsnow.com or directly at www.studentaffairsnow.com/. Here's the story, or on YouTube and anywhere you enjoy podcasts. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Huron. Huron education and research experts help institutions transform their strategy, operations, technology, and culture to foster innovation, financial health, and student success. I'm your host, Helena Gardner. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I serve as the Director of Residence Education and Housing Services at Michigan State University. I live my life as a mom, a sister, a daughter, a friend, and a mentor. I'm with you today from the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe, Three Fires Confederate of Ojibwa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi people. The university resides on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw, home to Michigan State University. And I'm here with my co-host.
Yeah, hi. My name is Neil Galimo. I use the he, him series of pronouns, and I am blessed to serve as the Director of Campus Living and Learning here on Texas A&M, the Galveston campus. And I'm actually out here on Pelican Island, an island off an island, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hey. Well, Neil, today I've got a good storyteller for us. And I want to introduce to our viewers Stephanie Carter-Atkins. Stephanie is here to tell us a story. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself
Oh man,
and
I
then
hope
drop
I live
that
up to the hype.
wisdom.
I'm just trying to live up to the hype of that great introduction. So thank you for that. Hello,
Yes.
everybody. I'm Stephanie Carter-Atkins. I'm the Executive Director of Residence Life and Housing at Wake Forest University. And beautiful because it's a little balmy outside, but nonetheless, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Super excited to be here. I have been in the field professionally since I got my master's in 2002. Please don't fact check the dates and all the great things and try to figure out how old I am because I'm like, I don't know, 24 or something. We'll see. But I've been doing this field mostly. I've been doing this work mostly in residence life and housing, kind of worked my way up. I came to Wake in 2017 as a director of residence life, and last April was promoted into the executive director role. So I'm
Whoop,
excited
whoop.
to, yeah, right. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm excited to continue the great work that we have going on here on campus, and influence and impact the student experience in the way that we get to do. Obviously, on my level, that's mostly through the staff that I get to have a chance to work with and all the great things we get to do. So I love it. And Wake has been a great place to me. So I'm thankful for that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about the story, right?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's see how this goes. So I really did rack my brain to kind of think about it. And I mentioned before, kind of backstage, that I listened to the first two podcasts because I wanted to have some idea of what this truly looked like and just some idea like how I should come across. And I'm like, man, they sounded really great with their stories. And I'm going to do my very best. So
Oh, I think you got it. I think you
listen, I
got it.
hope so. My story is going to talk about burpees, which, for people who might know me professionally, personally, all those things, I will talk a lot about burpees. So we're going to see how this goes. So I say that because, as I said, I've been in this field for quite some time and professionally, probably I started CrossFit in 2015, but before that, I was a single mom. So my son is 14 right now. And he's been with me, right, all 14 years. Earlier on in my career, I did like a lot of us. I didn't really have a healthy lifestyle. I wasn't really doing the things I needed to do because we work all the time, right? Like this job can be 24/7, 365, whether you're on call or not. There's something probably always happening. And depending on the role that you play, there's someone may call you. You may have to respond to things, whatever that looks like. So the work just never seemed to stop. To me, what that ended up turning into was I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way. I wasn't eating right, wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't resting. I still have struggles with that, I'll be honest with you. I just wasn't doing it. And I never really thought about it because it was just the grind. And growing up in residence life in the way that I did, I mean, back when we had pagers, hello, the pager went off, you had to respond, right? Or everything else, right? If you missed a page, it was like, oh my gosh, like, is that my job? Like, there was
Yep.
such real fears about some things back in the day that I just never, it just was what it was, right? it's probably a slight case of PTSD to some extent because that is just how we had to work. So I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way that had just become life. And I think after having my son, it didn't help right along the way because
Right.
when he was in daycare or even when he was in kindergarten and stuff and doing after school, like I would literally work until 6, 7 o'clock up until the point when I had to go pick him up basically because they were shutting the place down. I would go home, eat whatever you could really quick, do the mom thing we needed to do, get the kid in the bed, and essentially be back at work, right? On my computer or just responding to things. And let me tell you what, that does not breed itself to a healthy lifestyle. So I think at some point I finally hit the wall, and I was just like, this is not okay. Like I'm not taking care of myself. And where we were living at the time in the state of Georgia, I was not around family. So like once again, it was just me and the kid trying to figure life out together. Um, I happened to one day find a Groupon. Like I was living in a small place called Carrollton, Georgia. Shout out to Carrollton, Georgia, University of West Georgia at the time. I found a Groupon for some CrossFit classes, and I was just like, I don't know anything about this life. I don't know. I talked to a lot of people like on campus, and they were like, you can get hurt doing that. And I was like, well, I think people can get. I mean, you can get hurt doing anything at some point, if you don't do it right. But I was like, I kind of have to take a chance. So I'm thankful that I did. I showed up at the gym. And I think the thing that sold me at the time is they had a space for kids. So my son could be like in a little area for him to kind of hang out while I worked out. And to me, I didn't have any other excuses. Like there was no excuse to say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. And I think the thing that it helped me realize is that class was at 5:30. I had to be able to get my kid to where I was going and I had to be able to pick him up, get there. So I had to take a break from work, truly. Like I had to cut things off. So for me, as I said, it was a natural break that had to come because I finally decided to take care of myself in the midst of this. So it was truly what I needed, right? And as I said, I still struggle with we got to sleep and do all the things that come with it, but I at least was trying to put my health in a place that was a little bit better. So fast forward-ish, I guess, to somewhat today, like I still do CrossFit. I have a great gym here in Winston-Salem, which I'm thankful for. And my son comes every now and then, not anymore. Now he's like, I got other things to do in my life. But before I left the state of Georgia, because as I said, I came here in February 2017. Before I left there, and I had been doing CrossFit for a couple of years, burpees was a movement that I like totally hated, right? I don't know if you've ever done a burpee
You
before.
started a movie, a
Yeah,
movement. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Right.
No, I hate it.
It is a
I hate
thing,
them.
right? If you've ever done it, it I don't know, right? I mean, it's functional because yes, when you fall down, you got to be able to pick yourself up. Absolutely. It serves its purpose, right? Let's think about it that way, right?
So,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
obviously I know what a burpee is. Like
Yeah.
just look at me. So, but for our listener out there,
Yeah.
what is a burpee?
Yeah, right. So truly it is a lot of movements in one. So it's a push up, it's a squat, it's all the things. But in essence, when you are kind of hovering over the ground with your hands, you kind of put your hands down, you kick your feet back and you lay flat on the ground. Then you are pushing yourself up and then basically bringing your feet under you into a squat position, get up, clapping stuff. Look at I made it. Yay. I clap over my head and
Yeah, I do it all the time.
you do and you do it if you do it in CrossFit, you basically do it over and over again because nobody ever programs just one burpee in a workout. That's not how it works. Um, but I hated the movement so much, like because once again, like who just wants to be on the ground and have to get all of you, regardless of how much you weigh, it doesn't matter. Your body weight, you still got to pick all that up and do it multiple times. It is very taxing on you. So before I left the state of Georgia, the gym there at the time had started doing 100 days of burpees. And I was like, man, that is okay. It's pretty intense. So truly what it is for the first 100 days of this year, you do a burpee every day. So day one, you do one, day 10, you do 10, day 50, when you get to day 100, you do 100 of them. So by the time the totality of it is done, you've done 5,050 burpees. Like, and it's a lot, right, to think about because the early days, it's amazing. Yay, like 1 and 2 and 3, like everybody can knock that out. You can fall down, you can get back up. So I moved to North Carolina in the midst of doing 100 days of burpees and kind of pick things up at the gym that I was at. And I think that first year I didn't really think much about it, but I was like, okay, I need to keep doing this. So I've been doing it truly ever since 2017. I start out the year and do it. Today is day 69 of the year. You didn't know I did 69 burpees this morning, but
Oh,
yeah, right. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The
Like
burp,
on purpose. You
yeah,
didn't.
absolutely,
Okay.
yes,
Okay. All right.
on purpose and in my living room and Like, it doesn't make it any better. Like, it does
Good
not
for
matter how
you,
many years
Stephanie.
you're doing it. Like, it doesn't make it any better. Every morning, it's a new, fresh morning. I'm trying to talk myself into doing burpees. But along the journey of doing them, fast forward to 2019, I was asked to do a sprint session at what is Campus Home Live now, but was ACE, Kuhoi, the annual convention. I was asked to do a sprint session, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. That they were just like, talk about what you want to talk about. So I was talking a little bit about leadership and legacy and all those things. And I was just like, you know what? I should talk about burpees because who doesn't? Because that's what I talk about. And one of the lines that I put in that speech was, like, don't be a burpee in someone's professional journey. And it's one of those Pecha Kucha, I may be saying it wrong. So it's pretty quick, right? So in that quick time, I had to be able to tell people what that actually means. And I always equate it to, if you've ever done a burpee, like typically, like someone's face will either frown up or they will have a visceral reaction because they don't want to do it. Because once again, it is not the most fun thing to do. It seems simple, but it is very taxing after a while. So when I brought it up in my speech, it was like, don't be that way, right? Don't be that type of supervisor or that type of leader that when someone mentions your name, when they say Helena or when they say Neil, like that they frown up in that way, that someone gives you that reaction they give when they're told to do burpees. Like, don't be it. And to me, it was one of those conversations of, we don't ever talk enough about supervision and leadership in our field, yet lots of us sit in seats in which we have a lot of power and authority, right? We work with folks, we lead departments or we lead units or whatever the case may be. And sometimes we don't think about the impact that we have on other people's lives because we just can't stop and think about it because there's a million other things going on. HR is calling about something, there's a flood somewhere, there's fight, like all these things are happening in our day-to-day lives, but we don't spend enough time thinking about who we are as leaders. And I just want people to spend more time thinking about that. So to me, like, I was able to take a little bit of my CrossFit journey and think about it from a leadership and legacy lens. And like, when you leave a place, like, what is the legacy that you are leaving in this work? And as I said, I don't want people to think about when they say my name, like, oh God, like to frown up and what that looks like. So to me, that has been a huge part of it, right? So something that started out is, once again, a movement that I did not like, still don't like, no matter whether I when to keep doing this down the road, it is not going to get any better. But every morning I have a chance to think about, one, how much they don't feel good, and how I just need to continue to think about how I, one, show up, and two, are able to kind of tie all of this stuff in together. To me, like, it is always on my mind. At least for sure, at least for the first 100 days, but me thinking about myself as a leader and how I show up is always on my mind because I want to impact people in the right way. So I think about that as a burpee. And I did a presentation at CEHA. We just had our conference a couple weeks ago, and the presentation I did was, "Do you suck as a supervisor?" Once again, as I explained to folks, I actually want people to think about who they are as leaders, who they are as supervisors, not be a burpee. Think about the way that they are showing up, the impact that they are having on their teams. Like, we need to be able to talk about these conversations and in an intelligent way, because who teaches us how to supervise? Mostly, you might have had a good one. Maybe you had a bad one and you don't want to be like that person, but like, we just don't spend enough time talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm over here thinking about so I hate burpees and I hate them, and I think I've watched you on the socials do your 100 days and was thinking like, again?
Right.
And I'm surprised to know you do it again. So we're gonna pause, take a little commercial break, but when we come back, I need to know a little bit more. I'm still stuck on the burpee, on how you can do it every day. And that's like I'm gonna be a double entendre queen today. How you can do it every day, like how you can wake up every morning and do 69 burpees, but then also some practices you do every day,
Yeah,
that help you not be a burpee as an experienced burpee. So how about we come back to that after the commercial break and see if burpeeer is a real word. Thanks again to our sponsor, Huron. Huron collaborates with colleges and universities to create sound strategies, optimize operations, and accelerate digital transformation by embracing diverse perspectives, encouraging new ideas, and challenging the status quo. Huron provides institutional resilience in higher education. For more information, please visit go.hcg.com/now. All right, Stephanie. tell us a little bit more about how you stay committed to. I think you got 70 burpees tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, it's so strange because it makes the day feel like it goes by so fast, which is the problem because I'm like, oh man, it is already time to do these burpees again the next day. Yep. I think it's interesting. So I try to do them in the morning unless I look at the gym app and see that they're programmed in a workout because that is almost a saving grace sometimes because I don't have to do them in the morning, or maybe I can do some in the morning, some at the gym. Like it doesn't matter. You break it up as best you can. But I think for me, like literally every morning I get up, I sit on my couch and get my life together. And I'm just like, you know what? We got to do this. One, because you've made a commitment to yourself to do 100 days. And, it is like everything else, right? How do you take down an elephant one bite at a time kind of thing? So I have to look at it as I know I can do a set of 10 burpees. Now, don't ask me how much time is in between when I do one set versus another set, because when I, and I should say I video myself as a form of accountability and I post it on social media as a way of me saying, look, I did it today. If somebody wants to kind of check me and count and make sure I did them all, they could. I speed it up really fast. So hopefully my math is right. But to me, it is like this is my way of being accountable to myself of finishing something. And consistency will always be the key to everything we have to do, right? So even in the mornings when I don't feel like doing it, or when I say, you know what, it is starting to hurt around burpee 5, but I told myself I needed to at least do a set of 10 or something else, like I got to keep pressing on. Like I can take a break when I'm done and get myself together and come back at it, but I got to keep doing the thing that I said I was going to do and accomplish it. So some mornings are easier than others to attack this and get up and do it. Or I try to find as many creative ways as I can to do burpees, which you might be saying, how many different ways can you do a burpee? Well, I mean, there's a few different ways that you can do burpees, and I have tried to find them all to find it less taxing on my body in some ways. And some mornings it's just like this, it sucks. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just sucks, period. So, but as I said, to me, it is about the goal at hand. Like I have to finish what I've started. If I can't get to like tomorrow, day 70, and say, well, you know what, it's just going to be 70 days this year, not 100. And even in times and years where might have had an injury or something I've not been able to do, there are different ways to scale it. So perhaps you are on a box and kicking your feet back, but you're not going all the way down to the ground or something. Like you can scale it. That is one, that is the beauty of CrossFit, but two, that is how life is, right? When obstacles comes or things come in our way, how can we continue to get to where we need to go? I mean, maybe we got to take a few different paths to get to that purpose to get there, but we can still keep moving forward. And to me, like, we can have plenty of excuses. They don't really count. They don't matter. So how can we continue to move forward and do the thing we need to do and let people know, you know what, today's video is going to look different. I decided to do burpees this way and know that this is my own challenge. So no one can say, well, you didn't do it right, Stephanie. Well, you know what? Like, unless you're alongside with me in this thing, like I absolutely am going to do it the way I need to do it. That's just how it works. So
do you do like a modified burpee?
you most certainly can. Like, I mean, there is a way to modify anything, I promise you. So you just got to figure out whatever it is that ails you that you cannot do, like whatever part of that movement, you just figure out what that looks like. So yeah.
A burpee.
Yeah, I know. The entire thing. Yeah.
The whole thing.
I always, to me, I mean, even if you don't jump back, even if you step back and step up, once again, it is just reminding your body and truly, it's like the brace of yourself when you're falling down. So as we age, right, it is being able to try to catch ourselves when things happen, but also say, you know what, I can't just jump back on my feet, but I can step up and stand up. And then of course you have to have the clap because yeah, you did it. You got yourself up, clapped over my head. That's important to celebrate yourself. So. Yeah,
I mean, essentially,
also reach above my head afterwards. I don't know.
I mean, after 40, essentially, isn't that what running is? Just like tipping yourself over and then just keeping your feet moving fast enough.
That's it. That's it. We don't have to be perfect. We just got to make sure we keep these bodies moving for as long as we can in the upright position, or when we fall, we can get up. That's it. Yes.
I actually don't think I've ever heard of a burpee described that way. As like, you got to get up. So yeah, I never I'm gonna think about it differently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about it.
Do you think maybe get to it? Yeah, right. I get it. But honestly, and not that I'm selling the CrossFit thing, but to me, I appreciate anything that will teach you functional movements, right? So when we teach people how to squat properly or teach people how to do like lift properly, like we don't think about those things when we're younger because our knees are great and our back ain't hurting, but as we age, like the things we have to do are just like we have to focus on them differently. And to me, this is a way to, one, continue to think about my health journey and all the other things, because as I said, it is truly on the forefront of my mind. And even when the 100 days is up, I always have people ask me, so now what? Like, are you going to do another 100 days? No. I have found ways to have some smaller kind of things that I do during the months, or some other type of challenge that I do to myself to kind of keep things going. But typically I will not do another full 100 days of burpees. I may do a 30-day here or something else, but I tell you what, it is the last month or so is it's a struggle to get up and do these things. So yeah,
Yeah, and you record them.
I do. I
That's
do.
impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would just like boomerang that, do one. Not
Brilliant.
saying I
That's
would.
brilliant, Neil.
Yeah.
I'm very smart, guys. This is obvious. When
And
it
then I
comes
would
to,
like record in a similar workout outfit so I could just like run
there
it
you go. See,
back as a different day.
Listen, work
But
smarter,
I
not harder.
so you said 2017
Yep.
started, and when you got your care,
Hmm.
got your self-care. Can you talk to us a little bit about what keeps you consistent?
Yeah, I think, I think for me, and probably over the last year or two, gosh, I feel like I've been seeing enough of just Black women, and obviously this affects all races and sexes and all those things, but just a lot of Black women having struggles with mental health and other concerns and things, and just not taking care of ourselves, or just, once again, we work so much, and just the negative effects that sometimes that has on us as folks in this field. Like, to me, I was like, I just don't want this work to take me out. Like, I just don't. And I have been in a space in which I could see that I was on that road and on that path to do so. And I was like, I just can't do it. So to me, the consistency is trying to remind myself that my health is more important than this job and everything else. And while I love my job, like, I love my health and myself and my family much more. So I have to do these things that will continue to take care of me and will keep this heart beating, and will remind me true that, like, there's more to this world than the work that we are doing. Right. Like, to me, I think that is a piece of the consistency that is there. I also do my very best, just where I live and the proximity to my office. I walk to work a good bit of times, so it's about a mile or so if I kind of stretch it out, which is not bad at all. But to me, it walking outside provides me with a lot of perspective too, right? I remind myself I'm just a small part of this world. These big trees and everything else are around me. Like, we are all in this thing, and it's just perspective for me. But again, like, I got to take some deep breaths. I got to remind myself that once again, like, I just can't let this job take me out. And I hate seeing other women in the field that just get burnt out so quick, or the job just kind of sucks you in and spits you out. Like, I just can't. I just don't want that. And as I said, I saw myself going down that road. So to me, it is a reminder of all of these things. Like, I don't want to be a bad supervisor. I don't want to make people's lives miserable. I don't want my job to make my life miserable. Like, all these things are kind of taken into effect that I think about, and think about how I show up and how I take care of myself in the midst of this work. And we got to do, truly.
and there's not walls between those. Like,
Oh
each of
no.
those
Yeah.
things feeds into the other. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're healthy, you can do more
Yeah.
and more fun, and
Yeah.
it's easier. Like,
Yeah.
it makes perfect
And
sense.
I'm reflecting on like how often it's like easier to go ahead and take that nap. I would
Mm-hmm.
put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's sometimes you just are like, yeah, that was a day. And putting whatever self anything
Yeah.
to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just putting it to tomorrow like it's always promised.
Yeah. And it's hard to do, right? Like, it's just, once again, it's hard in this field, especially for folks who've been in it for a while, because that is just how we've been programmed. Like, we just got to do the job. Like, and it's not like the job is ever going to finish, but we work as if it will. Like, we're going to do it all in that one day. And it's like, man, no, like, I appreciate having younger staff, because they remind me, like, sometimes it's like after 5 o'clock, like, one, we have someone on duty who can respond to those things. And also, I don't check my email. And I tell you, the first time I heard that, I was like, what do you mean you don't check your email after 5 o'clock? Like, what? Like, it was a shock to my system. But I was like, I get it. Like, one, what you email about 5 o'clock is not an emergency or anything else. Like it really can be okay and wait until tomorrow. And I have had to learn that, like I've had to
Yeah.
unlearn a lot of really bad habits that I grew up on. And gosh, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting and thinking that I got more learning to do here today. Um, yeah, I'm probably still not going to do a burpee and be real honest about who I am. But there's other ways to get moving. And I'm not even doing a modified burpee. I just want to be
Gotcha.
real reflective. But I do enjoy watching you do burpees. I do. And Neil, I watch you do burpees too. If you put that on a loop,
Ooh, yeah.
wink, wink.
I still have to do the one though. That's
That's
the thrill.
it. Mhm.
Well, Stephanie, I certainly appreciate you sharing with us today. And what I mean, I'm really sitting with self. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just having a moment where I'm like, I don't have a plan to do anything for me.
Hmm.
Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a plan for what's next after work. But I was telling someone last week, but if I can show up for that thing for work, I can show up for this thing
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. It just conflicts with work, but
Mhm.
apparently I'm available. I just, like if I was available for that, I'm available for this. And just thinking about, how often we do sacrifice self.
Yeah.
And to your point, at 40 plus, I just act like I can't feel it. I just act like when I get up from this chair that I can't feel it. But I hear you. I deeply hear how often we choose work over self. And
Yeah.
I love hearing that you have this practice that you do to commit 100 days because hard no, but I got to find something. What
Yeah.
you thinking, Neil?
Well, I think that, kind of going back to the beginning, the thing that really spoke to me was, working until you had to pick up your kid or else they'd be left on the curb.
Right.
You didn't say that part, my mind did, because I was that kid once upon a time. And, you know, I remember like kids really, really kind of forced me to refocus things. Like I never left before 5:30 ever. I didn't have the option anymore. And just kind of going from there and then, how you have to build these things in. Like you have to
Yeah.
make it part of you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just love that you're doing this thing for yourself. It's selfish, but it's not. Because you can show up better for other people when you're showing up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not either or.
And it's not taught. And I appreciate you saying that. Like, I mean, it's kind of like black supervision. Like some things are just not taught. They're assumed we can do. And if we're not on purpose, we're probably not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, just gonna be real honest. I'm
Yeah.
probably not really doing it if I'm not on purpose and intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you probably wasn't like, let's make Helena feel bad today.
No.
But it's not a feel bad thing at all, Stephanie. It's not. It's
Oh,
not
goodness.
at all.
It
not a
just
feel
provided
bad.
some time for self-reflection, which as I
It's time
said,
for self-reflection.
that's
And
it. That's what we need to
it
do.
is.
Yeah.
And I know you said you were going through and you're like, let me see if I can do this thing. And that's what this time is. That's what
Yeah.
these episodes are for
Yeah.
us to pause and reflect and do things that are the real parts of our life, the real parts of the work, and the things that sometimes make it all make sense for folks to find themselves in another person. So with that, I'm going to send a shout out to thank you today for taking the time to share with us. I feel like you may be off the hook for doing your burpees today, but we know you're going to do them. If you haven't done them yet, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to back up and share a final thank you to our sponsor again, Huron. This has been Here's the Story. This is part of the Student Affairs Now family. We're so glad you joined us to laugh, to cry, learn, sometimes commiserate, and always celebrate being a part of Student Affairs experience. If you have a story, and we all have a story, please consider sharing with us by leaving a 2-minute pitch via voice file at studentaffairsnow.com/here's the story. Every story is welcome. Every earnest perspective is worthy. And if you don't feel like sharing your story, you can find ours, you can find others, you can find Stephanie at studentaffairsnow.com, on YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. This episode has been edited by Nat Ambrosi. Thank you for making us look so good. And I'm going to send a closing shout out to my co-host, Neil.
My name is Neil Galimo, and trust me, everybody, I'm the lucky one today.